The Hollywood Beat looks at movies. I'm Tandy Culpepper, and it is my pleasure to welcome Carlos Diehz this morning because he is lighting the movie world on fire with his performance in Conclave, which I think was the best picture of last year. Carlos, welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much, Tandy. I'm fine. I'm just trying to assimilate everything that has happened so far.
I guess so. For people who aren't aware of Conclave, tell us what the story of Conclave is about.
Conclave is a political thriller set in the ambience of the Catholic Church and the election of a new pope. And it's about the human nature in this setting where the stakes cannot be higher. And the human nature pushes all these people into these power struggles.
Conclave is the term that is used for the convening of all of the cardinals from around the world who come after a pope has either died or resigned, correct, to pick the new pope.
Yes.
Now,
yeah, that's right.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah. The term conclave means under key, so it means that they are sequestered.
Well, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I guess that comes from a Latin word, right?
Yes.
You got this part by lightning striking. I mean, explain what happened and how you wound up being cast in the film.
Well, the character is described in the novel and it isn't the same on the screenplay as a slim, mixed race man with a soft voice and so on. So that's half of it. I already got it. And from then, it was trying to convey the spirituality of this person who remains loyal to the deepest principles of religious life in Christianity. So I had to tap into my past and the spiritual phase I had when I was 19 or 20 years old. And the casting process and the constant work with a great acting coach. So.
Okay, I got a little bit ahead of myself because what I'd like to do now is to play the trailer. So let's do that now, and we'll come back on the other side.
Sure.
The Pope is dead. The throne is vacant.
What happened? They say a heart attack.
You know how rumor spreads, and 1.25 billion souls watching.
Well done, Lawrence. It seems the responsibility for the conclave falls upon you. The supervision of this election is a duty I never thought I'd have to perform. They are sequestered, and they must be shielded from all news that may influence their judgment. You understand?
So you are an architect by training, am I correct?
That's right.
How did the acting come into play?
The itch for acting came about when I was probably in elementary school or something like that, but I was too shy. I grew up with ADD, so I was always daydreaming, and I had a hard time relating to other kids. When I was in junior high and high school, I tried to begin to open more, open up. And then I said, okay, let's give it a try in theater. But the kids in the theater club were too flashy and very extrovert. So that was too much for me. I had an experience as an extra, but when I had the camera in front of me, it was so intimidating that I couldn't do it. So I said, that's it, I'm done. And 30 years later, when as an empty nester, the younger of our kids was about to leave for college, that's when I said, okay, let's do something different. I've been working in architecture for 30 years already. I want to learn something new. I don't want to go back to college. I don't have the money or the time to do that. So I'm going to look for something I could do, something easy, I thought. But then I learned how difficult it is. But I've had really great coaches who encouraged me and said, I mean, maybe it's life experience, but it seems that you know what you're doing. So, okay, that's what encouraged me to give it a serious try.
You are from Mexico,
That's right. Yeah.
but you live now in Vancouver.
Mhm.
How long have you been in Vancouver?
Well, I moved to Canada in 2009, early 2009, but I was in Winnipeg. And then here in Vancouver is 12 years now.
Vancouver has a very rich movie industry, does it not?
Yes, yes, it is. There's a production, especially in the summer. You can see production trailers everywhere.
Was that in any way a factor in your locating there?
No, not at all. I was looking for a milder weather here in Canada, so that's what brought me here. But once I was here and I saw all the activity related to film and TV, that made me also think about acting. Like, it could be a good idea to start here.
This this movie, from the very moment that I saw the trailer running on television, captivated my interest. I could not wait to see it. And without giving anything away, there are so many people out there who have seen the film already, but this is, as we record this, maybe 3 weeks, not quite a month since the Oscar ceremony.
Yeah.
That's a big ad for movies, the Oscars. It acquaints people with films they may not have been aware of. So
Mhm.
people go out and see the films that they watch at the ceremony. I imagine that you might be getting recognized now when you go out. Has that happened?
No,
Really?
one thing here in Canada, even if they recognize you, they don't approach you. It's very well known that David Duchovny or some other actors come here to Vancouver and they're walking on the streets and nobody approaches them for a photograph or an autograph in restaurants and at all. So I have noticed that some people around this area have looked at me like with some curiosity, but they never approach me.
Where have I seen? Do I
Yeah,
know
it's like
him?
you don't know this guy, but yeah. Apart from that, just one person in Palm Springs at the airport recognized me because he had seen the movie just the night before.
No kidding.
Yeah, but other than that, is life is normal. Yeah.
What was it like for you when you saw the film for the first time?
Well, when I saw it for the first time, it was a screening for me and my family, and I was too aware of myself, looking at myself like, oh no, that's not my best angle or whatever. But I noticed that the film was more compact than the screenplay. So I said, wow, why did they cut our lines and everything? And then I realized, oh, they're keeping the secret as it goes, and they're keeping a tight pace. So those 2 hours go like water. So they want to say, oh, that's a very nice edition job. Yeah.
They have built this as a thriller, and it is very much that way. You're on the seat of your pants throughout the film,
Yeah.
especially at the beginning, because we can give this much away. The Pope dies. The Pope, who is the spiritual leader, and they call him the Holy Father. And there's
Mhm.
this reverence and respect, and it's a shock when he winds up being dead because there were no indications for it, right? So
Mhm.
the question is, what happened? And that pretty much sets everything in motion at the beginning, does it not?
Mhm. Yeah, the novel and the script are very cleverly put together. There are many details that gives you hints of what is happening, what has happened, and what's about to happen. So you need to watch it a couple of times to catch in the different details, the different hints and foreshadowings that there are. And one of them that most of the people never comment is the chessboard in the Pope's room. Is like everybody is on a chessboard set up by the late Pope. So
That's a
I
very
think that's
good
that
way of describing it. A very
yeah,
good way of
that's why
describing it.
they make the emphasis. It's like a very lightly they talk about it, but when you see how everyone acts the way they have to and the way they're used to, and I will not tell more detail, but it's fascinating to see how everything plays. I read the novel twice before starting the shooting,
No
and
kidding.
then that's when I said, oh, that's why he said that. That's why he's here. That's why the Pope left this or such and such. So the late Pope was very clever. He took his time to arrange everything and just let the game unfold. So that's a very that's a way to see the film, right? And there are
It,
many other ways. One of
it's
them is even to see that probably Benitez is an imposter. That's the
who,
extreme,
who
right?
knows?
He got away with with what he wanted.
It is very much almost like a hard-boiled detective yarn
Yes,
because you never really know who is representing what faction of the church and whose motives are what at any given point. I mean, it really is like watching something out of Agatha Christie, except everybody is wearing red.
yeah.
Speaking of
And
which,
there are no butlers.
yeah, speaking of which, what was it like wearing all those, what do you call them, vestments? The
Investments, yes,
it must have did it make you feel different to wear the
absolutely,
garb?
yes,
How so?
yeah. When we audition, we usually try to dress a little bit like the parts we want to play. I auditioned with a clerical shirt with the white strip and everything just to get into the character and look more. And when you see yourself like that, is you get it helps to get you into the right mood and to become more the character. So when we would go every day, we would arrive, and then the vestments were all the layers that actually the cardinals actually wear is the black everyday clothes, the clerical shirt, and then the cassock, and then this called the alba, this is the white robe on top, and then the red cape, and so on, and then the crucifix. And this, when we got dressed, there was always someone from wardrobe working with us and dressing us like they do. They help them, they help us, and the ring and everything in place. So when you finish and all this ritual, you are in the mood. You are with one step into the character, even if you are in your dressing room, you are there. So that helps a lot. And then when you walk into these fantastic buildings, these enormous places that are not religious buildings, we shot in museums and palaces, but being there and after being in the Vatican at the beginning of the shooting, just walking around the Vatican museums and the Sistine Chapel, when we go back to the set and we will go back to locations, we get again this feeling and this sense of authority that our character has to portray. So it helps, absolutely helps.
Unbelievable. I was trying to imagine what that would have been like. to be in Rome and to be surrounded by all of this architecture. Let's go back to the very beginning. You're in Vancouver. You take up acting as a hobby. You get an agent. How? How did that happen?
Well, the agent, my first agent, Jill Cabouche, she was in casting, and then she decided to change career and become an agent. So she joined this small agency. Well, not so big agency here in Vancouver. So because she was new, she was building up her roster. And that's when my acting coach at that time, she's a friend, they are friends, and she said in one of the classes, so my friend Jill Cabouche is building up her roster. How do you say, roster or roster?
Roster.
She's building up her roster. So I said, okay, let's try it. I sent my demo reel and everything. And a couple of days later, she said, I want to sign you up. It's okay, let's do that. And that's how I got it. So she was beginning, I was beginning. So it was a good match. And then she got me 60 auditions in the next 7 months, 8 months.
Did you say 60?
60 auditions for
60.
commercials.
60.
60.
Wow.
So it was at the beginning was commercials and very small roles. And gradually casting directors would invite me for bigger roles or bigger projects until it was for series in Paramount, in Netflix and Disney and things like that. So that's a very good sign, even though I didn't get any of those roles. The fact of being on the radar of casting directors, that's the win. And then this casting call for Conclave comes up, and it's the third round worldwide because they hadn't found the right person in the Philippines, neither in Europe or North Africa or something like that. So they decided, okay, wherever this person might be, open casting call worldwide, and that's when she found it, and she said, this guy is you. The description is, this is you. So read it, and let me know your ideas, but you are invited to audition already. So she submitted me first, and then I knew about it when I was invited to audition.
Okay,
so that's how it all came up.
Okay, so exactly how did the audition go? What happened? Did you have the lines from the script?
Yes, I had the first two scenes where the arrival, when he's at the office falling asleep because he's very tired.
Wait,
And
you know
then,
what? Let's tell folks who you are in the movie.
okay,
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Cardinal Benitez. He's a cardinal who is in Kabul. So he arrives to the conclave in Afghanistan. So he arrives to the conclave, and he is being created a cardinal. He's been made cardinal in secret to protect him from the situation in Afghanistan or persecution. But he has the duty to go to the conclave. In real life, these kind of cardinals, as named in secret, is called in pectore, in the chest, in the Pope's chest. That's the term. Those are secret, and when the Pope dies, he has to make public this designation to be acknowledged, but they cannot be at the conclave. Although in the novel, the author fixes that, mentioning that the
Robert
Pope
Harris.
the law. Robert Harris. He changed he says that the late Pope changed the law, so that makes Cardinal Benitez eligible to be part of the conclave and to be also a potential candidate. So that's the big difference with the actual canon, the actual law. So when he arrives, he's seen with suspicion that was one more to compete, and who's this guy? How do we know he's a real candidate? But because now they're sequestered, and he arrived at the last minute, there's no way to get more proof about the legitimacy of his claim, but just a document that they say, well, okay, let's take a leap of faith. So that's one of the things across the story, the leaps of faith that the characters take in
So
order
you know
to,
all this going into
yeah,
your audition because you've read the book.
yes. Yeah, the first audition, I didn't read anything about the book. It was just a couple of scenes. I talked to my coach, James Scott, and he guided me. Um, and you have nothing but speculation. Having not read the book, to just speculate what are the intentions of each character, where is it going, uh, what happened before the scene, what's going to happen after the scene. So it's a very kind of a guessing work because I didn't have time to read the book. It was just a couple of days to prepare. But that worked well. That worked very well. And
I guess so.
we learned that this person is very spiritual, very centered. So he becomes the voice of reason and the voice of the spirituality that is expected from people like
Because
this.
this character is the only one that doesn't have a dog in the fight, as we say. He doesn't have an axe to grind. He has no personal agenda. When did you find out you got the part?
Well, the first audition was in mid-September. Then the first callback was in mid-October. Then the second callback in Rome was in early November. And
You
it
went
was,
to Rome? You went to Rome.
yes, for the second audition. So it was great because I auditioned in front of Nina Gold. She was my reader. I read the lines with her. Edward Berger was holding the camera and doing panning and movement and everything.
Berger
And then
was the director, so we should let people know. So you were
yeah,
auditioning with the director.
yeah, with the decision makers were there. And my extras in the audition were Tessa Ross and Danny Cohen, producers. So it was great because when things get a little bit heated, I would address these impactful words to the producers and say, "You such and such and such," and they got like a little bit a little bit startled. So that was great just to have this impact on them. So it's a good sign. And Nina Well was happy with it. So after that second callback, I said, "Well, there's nothing else I can do. Just wait." And they made me wait for almost 3 weeks before they told me, "You got the part." So yeah, and from then I had 1 month to relax and to realize that now is for real. I'm going to be in front of Ralph Fiennes in every single scene, and
So
to
you're
share
with
the
Ralph
days.
Fiennes,
Mm-hmm.
who plays the dean of the the College of Cardinals. Then you've got John Lithgow on the set, Stanley Tucci, Isabella Rossellini. These are very, very well known and very top-notch actors. Were you intimidated
Absolutely.
at all?
Of course I was. I spent hours and hours for months studying Ralph Fiennes mostly, finding every movie, every interview or lecture that I could find on the internet to see him, to get used to his voice, his gestures, how he cues the other actors during the scenes with movements, with even with breathing or with his eyes and everything. So just to get used to that and not to be starstruck in front of him. So that was mostly for all of them, but mainly for Rafe. I did that over and over and over. Still, when I was in front of them, the first scenes that we shot, I was having a little bit of hard time trying to match the direction that Edward gave me, because one of the things that I find is when a German director says, "Be more happy," is not the same as when a Mexican says, "Be more happy." Right?
Explain. What do you mean?
Yeah, like a be more. It was actually kind of a vague direction. I was like, okay, so what does he want? So I would do it, and then he said, no, like more like this, and I would try to match him, and then I saw Rafe. He was doing his lines in the tone that the director was asking for. So I noticed that it's like, oh, okay. So I was trying to match Rafe's tone to do this mirroring Rafe's tone, intensity, and everything. So that's the only way we were able to just move forward on that scene. But from then on, I realized, okay, so Rafe's also on my side. So that's one of the most beautiful things. Everyone on the scene is on each other's side, and we are just cheering for each other and pulling together. And Rafe was very generous on every scene to be patient, to guide me. And in the last scene that I had with him, this very heartfelt scene, we reached these connections, this deep connection after doing so many takes, that we got the exact same page, the same intensity, the same emotions over and over for over a dozen takes. And it was just pure magic. It was beautiful. And it's thanks to Rafe's experience and generosity. I pinned my performance on being guided by Rafe.
Well, speaking of that, we have a scene where you and Rafe are in your characters and you're talking to him. Can you set up this scene and what is going on during it?
Okay, so this is the scene at Benitez's bedroom. Cardinal Lawrence is troubled about the election. He's caught in the middle of this situation. He wanted to retire, but because he's the dean of the college, he is responsible for the election. So he's responsible that everything goes well, that everything is kosher, so to speak, that everything is according to the canon, and there's no foul play. So he has some hints that there's some foul play, but he cannot put the finger on it. But he sees that these factions, more radical factions in the church, are gaining traction. So he wouldn't want to do anything to influence the election, but he's asking Benitez to change his vote, because Benitez has been very open with Lawrence, saying, "I'm voting for you." So then he comes and Lawrence is trying to convince Benitez otherwise.
All right, let's take a look at that scene now.
The other night, you were kind enough to say that you had voted for me. Now, I don't know if you've continued to do so, but if you have, then I must repeat my plea to you to stop.
Why?
Well, firstly, I lack the spiritual depth to be Pope. Secondly, I couldn't possibly win. A long, drawn-out conclave would be seen by the media as proof that the Church is in crisis.
You have come to ask me to vote for Cardinal Tremblay?
Yes, I have, and to urge your supporters to do the same.
Cardinal Tremblay already spoke to me about this.
No, well, I'm sure he has.
You want me to vote for a man you see as ambitious.
I do not want to see Tedesco as Pope. He would take our church back to an earlier era.
I'm sorry, but I cannot vote for a man unless I deem him the most worthy to be Pope. And for me, that is not Tremblay. It's you.
I don't want your vote!
Nevertheless, you have it.
Did you get advice from these heavyweights, from Rafe, from Lithgow? Is it Lithgow or Lithgow? How does he pronounce it?
I've heard it Lithgow.
Lithgow, okay. And Stanley Tucci. I would think, are they as nice in person as you would think they would be?
Yeah, maybe more.
Really?
Yeah,
what was the
Rafe,
best advice you got from them on the set? You have this scene, which we don't have a clip of, and we wouldn't want to show it because it would give too much away. But you have this monologue where you stand up and all of a sudden everything changes.
yes.
My skin right now is tingling thinking about the importance of that scene. Were
Mhm.
you nervous going into that? And if so, what did they do to make it easier for you to deliver that really important bit of dialogue?
Yeah. Yes, I was very nervous. I had to rehearse the scene. I don't know how many times, probably 100 times, no exaggeration. And still, I was feeling the stage fright from the day before, and then John Lithgow and I hit it off very nicely in the first days of production. He told me, "I'm going to be your secret coach. So anything you need, just give me a call and we can talk about it." Say, okay, fine. This is the time I can use my secret coach. So I texted him, and because we were in the same building, the same apartment, he said, "Okay, come over at 7 and we'll talk about it." So, sorry, let me plug my phone.
No problem. I
There
almost
you, there
knocked
you
my
go.
computer off at the beginning of the interview. Things
Okay,
happen.
okay, there it is. So I went to his apartment. We ran the scene a couple of times, and he said, "Well, you got it. So what's the issue?" I said, "Well, stage fright. Uh, how do you do to overcome stage fright to get rid of it or something like that?" I said, and he said, "You never get rid of stage fright. It's always there, and it's a good sign because it means that you care about the scene. You care about your work, but you learn to manage it." So he said, it helps that to know that when you do a monologue or a speech and we are shooting, nobody's going to cut you off. Nobody is going to heckle you or to boo you or anything like that. So you set the pace, you set the rhythm, the timing, everything. You can take as long as you want. You can say it as fast as you want, but this is your choice. And the director is going to give you some direction, obviously. He's going to ask you for some adjustments at the end. And then you do it over again. And again, you are the master of the scene, time and time again. So they said, "Yeah, that's true." So that gave me more confidence. Still, when we were about to shoot it, this is all the discussion going on, and then I stand up, and they put the microphone and everything. They reset the cameras and so on. And Edward Berger, he usually would come and ask me, "Are you doing okay? You need anything?" And he says, "Are you okay? Are you good?" And say, "Yeah, I am fine." And he said, "I can hear your heartbeat on my headphones." Because I was so nervous. I started, so I calmed down, and then we did the scene, because even though you do it in a rehearsal, it's not the same when you have all the cameras, all the lighting, and all the ambience sets the right mood for it, right? So it was great also to have Sergio Castellito's reaction, because he is my opposite side on that scene.
He's the
So
Italian cardinal.
he's Italian cardinal. He's very a fiery cardinal, conservative cardinal. So this discussion, this first part of the speech, is directed to him. So to have such an experienced actor in a scene to bounce these emotions is great, because it gives you, it brings you into this roller coaster to run through the scene without thinking, but with your heart and feeling it. So that was just beautiful. And then 1 year later, they said, "Oh, we're going to reshoot the speech." I said,
Are you
"What?"
serious?
Yeah.
A
So
year?
a year later, because they edited the movie and everything, and when it was ready, uh, the world changed. It was the attack of Hamas against Israel, and Israel response, and all the how do you say, los animos, all around, everybody around the world was so fiery and calling for outrageous things. So then production said, "We need a more impactful speech," because the original speech was very loving, very careful. And then they said, nope, we have to rewrite it. So they said, we have some money left. Yes, we do. We organized everything. And we went back to Rome 1 year, exactly 1 year after the last Friday I shot. The next Monday, 1 year later, we were back in Rome. It was absolutely the biggest deja vu you can ever imagine. Even I was talking to my assistant from production and everything. We were all like, what's going on? And she was telling me, she's in Italian. And she said, things are very kind of slow in Italy. So we were all available. So it's the exact same team, all the technicians, all the assistants, even the catering people was the same. The extras were back. Everything was back just to shoot it again. So
unbelievable. And you've got this whole continuity thing.
yes. So there was a double playing Castellito, but they look almost identical. So it was easy just to deliver the lines now to this guy who looked like Castellito. But it was great. But now I was not that scared about it. First of all, we were just half. None of the big actors were there, so that helped just to be a little bit more at ease. But keeping in mind this advice from John Lithgow, and also the other advice that I received from Rafe was, you are not a native English speaker, so to you it's a little bit more difficult, but keep in mind that every single word you say is a gift to the audience. So treat it as such. Every word is precious because it's moving the plot. So when you enunciate a word incorrectly, you're making the audience think, what did he say? And they lose track of the speech. So our job is to give all this beautiful, and it's true, it's a beautiful script to the people. So take the time to enunciate, especially because Latin Americans, we have the bad habit to not enunciate the last consonant in the English language. We say consonant. We just do the gesture, but we don't exhale it. So he said, do it. Be mindful of every single consonant. So that's what I did before our big scene. I was enunciating, doing these basic locution enunciation exercises, the warm-ups and these big exercises, warming up. I mean, I enunciate, doing the scene over and over. And all of a sudden I had run the scene like 10 times that way in this kind of exercises when I hear Ralph Fiennes saying, bravo, from his tent. And I say, yes, I got it. So that's one of the things, when you have your lines very well hammered and the technical aspect of it, you have it internalized, then you can afford to do this wonderful emotional trial and be able to deliver these amazing scenes.
Being in a movie like that must be like getting a PhD in acting. All
Yeah.
like that.
In 8 weeks, yeah.
I'm telling you. Did you go to the Academy Awards? Were you there by any
Yes.
chance?
Yes, we were there. We didn't go through the red carpet, my wife and I, but we were there. We met everything. We met the girls from Anora, the friends of Anora and everything. We were with them. We were sitting next to them, and we had a blast. It was amazing. It was
I can
really fun.
imagine. And I was talking to your publicist, Morgan, and she said you had been in LA for a week of meetings.
Yes, yeah. So
Tell me about that.
well, right now we are knocking at doors. I have a manager now in Los Angeles with the Link Entertainment, and he's been getting me these interviews and these meetups with executives in different studios. And it's very exciting. So that's the stage we're at, and we are just trying to work out whatever possibilities come up.
Now, in the meantime, have you quit your day job, but you're still working as an architect?
No, I'm still working in architecture. That's the everyday job that pays the bills every month, and I love it. I love it. I've been working on this almost for 40 years since I was a teenager, as a draftsperson and everything. I love it. So
Unbelievable. Okay, put you on the spot. There are going to be young people out there who are wanting to follow in your footsteps and do this sort of thing. Uh, there have been many actors over the years who have gotten out there and pounded the pavement and gone to auditions, and they never get anything like you have experienced in Conclave. What do you tell young people about this business from what you've learned in such a short period of time? What advice do you have?
Well, the advice is for young people especially, but it doesn't matter what age, is be observant of life around you. Learn from the life of other people to inform your performances. Because you might not have all the experiences of every character you want to audition for, but you might know someone who has gone through similar situations. So you learn from them how they do, how they behave, what they want. And that's one thing. And the other one is don't do what anyone would do, because that makes you just one of the bunch. So make bold choices. Change the way you maybe the way you talk, maybe your physicality and everything. So be memorable and listen to your coaches. Get a good acting coach, get good acting workshops, and listen to them. They know what they do.
And what's the best thing about this entire experience? What is the one thing about it that you'll cherish more than any other?
I think it is to having met these amazing actors, I've learned that no one is ever too high to give good advice and be generous to a fellow actor. That's the biggest, the most beautiful learning I had.
What a great thing to take away from all of this. Carlos Diehz, I cannot tell you what a thrill it is to speak to you. I'm living vicariously through you. I can't even imagine what that must have been like. But congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you
just
very much.
terrific. Thank you for being with me today.
Thanks for the invitation, Tandy. It's a pleasure.